Hey everybody, it's Dr. Eric Balcounter back for another edition of Thyroid Thursday. And today we're talking about self-care and why it's such an important piece of your thyroid recovery process. So we often blame life stressors, work stress, relationship stress, financial stress, dietary stress, alcohol, habits, behaviors, all these things that happen externally as the cause of our problems. However, many people have lots of stressors in their life and a lot of negative stressors, but because of their mindset, because of their overall state of health, they're able to manage a lot of stress and actually feel and function really well. And then there's others that have a stressful event happen and it drives them into this kind of chronic stress response, chronic cell stress response, and they don't function well. It results in glucose resistance and reduced thyroid function and thyroiditis and other gut issues and immune conditions and etc. So everybody wants to say you have to lower your stress. You don't have to lower your stress. You really don't need to lower your stress to be healthy. I mean, when you lift weights, right, you're stressing your muscle, and you could say that's a damage to your muscle. It's a stress to your muscle, but it's actually that stress that we do and then allow for recovery that actually makes your muscles stronger, makes your biceps stronger, make your quads, your glutes, your overall muscular system stronger. When we run, it's stress on the tissue, but if I'm training for a race, the more I train and as long as I allow for recovery and I do it appropriately, that training, even though it creates damage in the moment, actually makes me stronger and more resilient later. So we need to have stress on our physiology. Then we need to be able to recover from that stress. That's the most important piece. So we can't try and avoid all stress because it's not going to happen, and you're always going to be under some level of stress from organisms, from toxins, from mold in your environment, to your relationships. It's really about how we perceive those stresses. An example I gave to a client the other day, they were concerned about the market and how the market's tanking and this is their retirement, their relationship. And I said, I understand that makes sense to me, but you may be looking at it maybe the wrong way. People who are in the business of making money and investing, they're professional investors. When they see the market tank, this is when they get excited. They jump in. The people who are looking at it the wrong way are selling off their stocks and their funds because the market's tanking, selling at the high so they don't lose as much. The people in the investment business are waiting for those values to go down, and then they're investing in the stocks that everybody else is selling or the funds that everybody's selling because they know it's going to get up. They look at it as a business opportunity. Somebody else may look at it as a loss of their retirement. Okay, so it really is about how we perceive a situation and how we can reframe it. Okay, so life stress is all about how we perceive it. If we perceive it as bad, as problematic, that drives the cell stress response. It drives fear. It winds up our limbic system and activates our sympathetic nervous system, which increases our fight or flight, down regulates hormone regulation, gut physiology, and so many other things. And so that's problematic. So the stress and how we perceive it can either be contributory to the stress load and make us worse, or it could actually decrease the stress load. If I'm looking for opportunity, if we go back to the markets, and I'm like, how am I going to grow my portfolio? I don't have more money to invest at these high values. If you see the market crash and you have more money in savings, that may be the time to invest in some really good quality stocks and funds because you know it's going to go up. It always does. So if you have real perceived stress, real stress or perceived stress, that can activate that cell stress response. And everybody's entitled to their pity party. Everybody's entitled to have, when something really bad does happen, we're entitled to say like, man, this is terrible. A family member passes away. It's sad. We're upset about it. That's normal response. But we choose how to live on after that event. We can constantly be focused on how bad the situation was. I can't believe I miss my mom. It's terrible. I feel terrible. And have this be like an anchor on our health and our physiology. Or we can reframe the situation. Your mom passes away, you could be sad that she's gone, but you can think about all the positives that you got out of the relationship over the decades you spent with your mom. It's just about perception and reframing. So it's important that when you perceive a lot of stress or danger from your environment, this is going to not only activate the cell danger response, but your thyroid physiology shifts to shift the cells from homeostatic regulation to cell danger response and allostatic regulation. Thyroid hormone has to shift. We decrease the conversion of T4 to T3 in certain tissues. We upregulate T4 to T3 conversion in other tissues to support the cell stress or cell danger response. So brain tends to get upregulated so that our fight or flight system is more activated. This results in problems with sleeping, problems with insomnia, irritability, agitation, and then other systems and tissues are downregulated, so we see problems there. I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I'm depressed, I'm gaining weight, okay? So we can see both hypo and hyperthyroid symptoms as our thyroid physiology shifts from what I call communication mode, that homeostatic regulation, to thyroid protection mode, that allostatic regulation. This is not broken physiology. Your physiology is adapting to the situation. So we have to stop telling people, oh, your body forgot how to convert T4 to T3, or your immune system is attacking you for no reason. It forgot how to work. That's not really what's going on. The thyroid physiology and your immune system in general is adapting. And when you load medications into this process, it does manipulate labs. It can potentially short-term change signs and symptoms, but it doesn't fix the state of your physiology in most cases. If you're in allostasis, your body's decreasing T4 to T3 conversion. There's an overall decrease in thyroid hormone production. This isn't broken. And so if you add more thyroid hormone in the system to optimize the T3 level and suppress a reverse T3 level, you're not fixing anything. All you're doing is potentially ramping up the fight or flight response. Early on, you may get some positive change and improvement, but what a lot of the clients that I see come who are on higher doses of T3, they have anxiousness, anxiety, irritability. I just did a podcast a week or so ago where a woman who was told to optimize her T3 with T3 and T2 medication actually had more damage going on to her liver as a result of it, because her fight or flight system was more upregulated, her detoxification pathways were downregulated, and she flooded more thyroid hormone into a system, and it just didn't work the way the provider thought it would work because they didn't take into consideration the person's state. So we need to prioritize self-care because it's many of the things that we do in our life, our habits, our behaviors, that contribute to the excessive cell stress response. So diet plays a huge role. If you don't eat a healthy diet, and you're eating a lot of pro-inflammatory foods, drinking lots of alcohol, that's toxic to the system. So if you take time and plan to what to eat that's gonna help you be healthier, and eliminate some of those things that aren't as healthy, that's gonna help you become more resilient. That's gonna help you be able to handle more life stress. Sleep, we have to prioritize sleep. If you're so busy taking care of everybody else and everybody else's issues that it's preventing you from getting to sleep at night and getting a good quality 7 to 8 hours because you think you need to do everything for everybody in your family or work, that is a negative impact on your physiology. So you got to prioritize sleep. Exercise, the same thing. So many people say, I just don't have time to exercise, which is not a true story in general, but it is a true story in your mind if you keep telling yourself that. But if you don't work on your physical health and physical fitness, that contributes to poor overall health and creates more stress and inflammation on your physiology. So we have to work on our habits, our behaviors, the things we do. But if you don't dedicate time to take care of yourself, it's going to overload your system and you're going to be less resilient, less able to deal with life stressors. And you and your physiology is going to perceive a lot of those life stressors as continual threats. So this is a priority. So you need to make yourself a priority today, starting today. And then you have to dedicate some time to start making you the priority. You can't give what you don't got. So if you're saying, hey, I need to do all this stuff for my family and my friends, if you're in poor health and you have low energy and you're exhausted and you don't feel well, how are you really going to do an effective job taking care of your family, your kids, and the people around you? Prioritize self-care.